Well, this has been interesting, trying to figure out how to use some of my programs. Seems that it's been so long that a lot of them have been upgraded and some of them have been disenfranchised. It's been quite a busy day today. Hoping this one will work. I spent a lot of time on the road today. I went to do a visit in Gainesville, so I had a lot of time to think and to pray, and I was thinking about love. Jesus was asked one time what the greatest commandment in the law was, and Jesus' response was, "You should love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your mind and with all your soul." And this is the first and greatest commandment. And the second, he said, is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. These are the two commands that Jesus said are the greatest commands. Let me repeat. They are commands, and commands are those things which we must do. But do we do they? And if we would desire to love like the law commands, are we even really capable of loving like that? Do we love God with everything that we are? And can we love our neighbors as ourselves? And how much do we even really love ourselves? Over time, the world has strived to become more civilized. At least I think the world has tried to do this. Governments and, yes, churches have written law upon law to make it look like we might love one another. Maybe they're thinking if we fake it enough, we might make it and really learn to love one another. But a command to love God, a command to love our neighbors as ourselves, coming from governments or visible churches, usually does not foster love. These commands might, and I say might, produce less visible animosity, but most of the people that I know will just become angry. When they are ordered to do something, they may even become full of hate, even if they're being ordered to love someone that they may feel totally is unlovable. When churches or governments or anyone else orders someone to do something nice, say for a neighbor or maybe not a person who lives next door, when governments decide that they will take even more taxes to pay for something that will benefit others and hurt the one they're taking it away from, even if the loss is only a perceived loss, that will not endure the person experiencing the loss or the giving up of their property or their time or their talents. This will not motivate them to love more. It will cause division. After all, wasn't taxation the reason for the Revolutionary War? Take, for example, something many churches did years ago, and some still do today. They insisted on the tithe. They insisted that all good church members must give 10% of everything they have. Some gave, some even give joyfully, but not all. Many run and disavail themselves of the opportunity to hear the word. Of course, then there's the question, what word would they actually be hearing if the preacher is so focused on money? And what about those indulgences that the church required centuries ago to get your loved ones out of purgatory? Was that all about loving God? Was that all about a loving God? No, I would think it caused people to only fear him, not respect him, not love him with their whole hearts, not love them with their minds or their whole souls, only to fear him. The bottom line is that we are sinful and rebellious human beings. When we, like any little child, is ordered to do something, often our first thought is a bit rebellious. It is not love that is invoked with orders, with commands, with laws and regulations on top of more laws and regulations. What the law produces might be good behavior, moral behavior, but it is not love. it is out of fear, and it can become anger, it can become hatred, and it can cause many divisions. Of course, it was Jesus who said we are to love God above everything else and our neighbors as ourselves. And he did. He loves us all so totally, unconditionally, that he was willing to give his life that we might live. That is love. And when we realize how much he loves us, then, maybe then, we will be able to begin to love God with all our hearts and all our souls and all our minds, and our neighbors as ourselves, and our neighbors as he loves them. When we begin to realize what he has done because of his great love for us, then we may be ready to take up our crosses and follow him for the love of God and for the sake of others. Love does not originate in the law. It originates in the love of God for us, for all of us. We love him and our neighbor because he first loved us so much that he gave himself for us. This is most certainly true. Amen.